Martin Clunes, OBE, is a bit of an enigma when it comes to his work in TV. An entire generation will see him as Gary from Men Behaving Badly, whereas another generation will see him as Doc Martin. And then there's additional people who will see him as a travel reporter or a presenter of a show that involves dogs. This man cannot be pigeonholed for his TV work. But his film work is minimal. Only 14 films made over his career. In amongst those is this film, Staggered. Directed and starring Martin Clunes, Staggered hit UK cinemas in the summer of 1994, right in the middle of Series 3 of Men Behaving Badly. The film studio clearly trying to cash in on Clunes' 1990s blokey bloke fanbase. And if that wasn't enough of the blokey blokeness, then you have ex-Robin of Sherwood Michael Praed in it as well. He's a proper macho bloke. Then there's a bit of totty for the lads in Anna Chancellor, who was fresh off the success of appearing in Four Wents and a Funeral. Comedian Griff Rhys-Jones appears in it. Also, classic British actor David Kossoff is in it. Incidentally, Kossoff played the Sheriff of Nottingham in a 1953 TV miniseries. So do you reckon him and Praed discussed all things Robin Hood? Oh, and I forgot to mention, Clunes' Men Behaving Badly co-star Neil Morrissey is in it. So while Staggered doesn't have a big cast, it does have a recognisable cast.
Jeff, I'm the videographer.
You're a pain in the arse. Piss off.
But where did Staggered come from? How did it get made? Why was Martin Clunes directing? To find the answers to these questions and more, I spoke to co-writer Paul Alexander. He told me that he'd been writing jokes and sketches for TV shows such as Alas, Smith & Jones and Canned Carrot. He was a bit of a nerd when it came to movie scripts and ended up buying a load of Hollywood scripts from some random bloke in Clapham. This random bloke turned out to be ex-Empire magazine journalist Simon Braithwaite. Over time, the two of them got chatting, decided to write a film together. The problem was they had no idea what story they wanted to write and also how they could finance it. The financing proved easy as Simon's sister Philippa, producer of commercials, said there was a new government scheme to help small businesses start up and that money could be used for a movie company. After a lot of due diligence, finance was secured. Now, what to write was a different thing entirely. Paul and Simon were both big fans of American filmmaker John Hughes. Their favourite Hughes movie was Planes, Trains and Automobiles. So they took their lead from that, but with a slightly British twist. Clunes was on board and they had signed up the Comic Strip Presents director Sandy Johnson. They assembled a crew together who were happy to defer their normal fees for a piece of the movie later on. But just as it was all coming together, Johnson was offered a very lucrative directing gig at the BBC for their new TV show Roughnecks. So Staggered needed a new director. Step forward, Martin Clunes. The Men Behaving Badly star had wanted to try his hand at movie or TV directing, but had never really had an offer. This was his time. Staggered is a film where Clunes is drugged, put on a helicopter and flown to a remote Scottish isle and then has to get back to London before his wedding day. So here's the weird thing about that. Clunes had already done this a year previously when he appeared in a TV movie called Dancing Queen, which formed one of 3 Rick Mail Presents series of TV movies for ITV. In Dancing Queen, Clunes played the obnoxious best man who puts a drugged male on a train to Newcastle but it ends up in Scarborough, which is essentially the part that Michael Praed is playing in Staggered. So to have Clunes appear in both films within a year of each other and effectively play the protagonist and the antagonist is interesting. There was still no distribution in place as the film was being shot. Luckily, Entertainment Film Distributors in the UK really liked what they'd read in the script and agreed to distribute the film. However, when it came time to release the film, the distributors offered Paul and Simon 2 options. Option 1, a small cinema release on several screens and then very quickly put it out on VHS and hope it makes its money back. Option 2, a full-on big cinema release with posters on the side of buses and in magazines. Everybody chose option 2, as they wanted their little movie to be seen across the land. But this big rollout came at a price. The advertising costs would have to come out of the crew's end, so the film had to pay off the ads before anybody who worked on it got paid. Paul told me that by the time the film was sold to television, it had recouped all of its budget and the ad costs, and everybody who'd worked on it got slightly less than £1,000. But for most involved in Staggered, it wasn't about the money. It was about having a feature film on their resumes.
I know you probably don't pick up hitchhikers normally, but I'm begging you. I know it's a lot to ask, but please, is there any chance you can give me a lift to the mainland?
Yeah, come on, it's empty. I'll just finish my tea first.
The posters and the VHS and the DVD covers for Staggered all have quotes from national newspapers proclaiming it hilarious, packed with laughter. Those critics must have seen something different to me, because the film I watched wasn't packed with laughs. It's funny, but packed with laughs is a stretch. Instead, Staggered is more of a comedy with a surrealist edge. There are moments in the film that descend into the thoughts of Neil. It's lit with this like blue neon, filmed with almost a fisheye lens. These are the thoughts from the dark recesses of Neil's mind. Clunes' directing style in those scenes owes a lot to the work of David Lynch and Terry Gilliam. So maybe, just maybe, Staggered feels more at home nowadays than it did back in 1994.
Ladies, gentlemen, friends, marriage truly is a blessed thing. And I know I speak for us both when I say that Hilly and I count ourselves as blessed to have you here to witness the birth of our union. So I'll put you all down for a copy of the wedding video.